Hello, everybody. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime streaming show. I'm Skip Elsheimer.
Hello, everybody.
Nearly avoided an insane feedback loop.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, there's one here too.
Welcome.
Crazy. All right. So, I'm Skip Elsheimer, and I did some figuring out stuff this weekend to work on the image quality of the transfers I'm doing, but also to figure out how to broadcast to Twitter because it got broken at one point, and I figured that out. So, hooray! Hi, Twitter. Also, we're here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Black Hole Monoplex, which is a site where they do interesting programming, and they asked me to fill in for the lunchtime spot. Today is Labor Day, if you're in the United States. The end of a 3-day weekend. Thank you, Labor, for giving us the weekend in the 40-hour work week, among other things. And I thought, well, yeah, I should show some films about labor. So I looked up labor, and I was like, oh, yeah. All the baby delivery films that I have, because I have quite a few. So, yeah, we won't be watching that. But we will be watching film about work. Not that delivering a baby isn't work, or giving birth to a baby isn't work, but, yeah, that sharp delineation. So, what do we got? So we just watched an interesting film. It's called Time. Well, the label on the can said Time Studies number 4, and so this was kind of a test film for people that were assessing motion studies for workers who were doing repetitive assembly line work. The idea being that if they could look at how somebody did a task, they could try to figure out ways to make them work more efficiently, depending on, where they place the bolts, who does what. The idea is to streamline and make each person more efficient, actually more robotic. And so these are interesting films because they capture the work of assembly line folks, but also it's kind of a crappy thing of like, well, how can we maximize our employee work time, not realizing that that repetitive motion could be causing ill effects, could be placing people in danger, could be there's any number of things that could be happening with that. So it's an interesting film that has lots and lots of backstory to it that is kind of fascinating to me. So let's see, what do we got lined up? This next film is a Centron film about postal workers who are not working today, I don't think. So here's Postal Workers.
Whether you live in a small town like this one, or in a large city with many people, you are part of a community. A community is very much like your family. The people work together, live together, and have fun together. Working people, no matter where they live, provide goods and services that other people need. And each person does one job that they have been specially trained to do. What kind of job would you like to do? Would you like to be a postal worker? Have you ever wondered how mail travels from one city to another? Let's start at the beginning and see what happens when a letter is mailed. Most of the letters we mail begin their journey here, at the corner mailbox. Several times a day, mail is picked up by postal workers called city carriers. Their job is to bring the mail back to the post office.
May I help you?
But some people bring their mail directly to the post office.
Hi.
This woman is a window clerk. She does many jobs for the customers. She helps them mail packages and letters by weighing them and putting the proper postage on them.
Thank you. Thanks. Next, please.
The window clerk also sells postage stamps and many times helps customers with special problems that they may have.
Do you have any information on special deliveries?
Yes, we have a pamphlet on postal services and products, and one of them is about special delivery. You can have the whole thing. It has other information, too.
Yeah, thank you.
Mail comes in all shapes and sizes. And before it can be stamped, it has to be sorted. These men are postal clerks. They separate those pieces of mail that are either too big or too small. After the mail is sorted, it has to be stamped or canceled. This job is done by a postal clerk operating a machine. When the letters have all been stamped, they are put in trays and sent to workers called distribution clerks. They run an LSM, and that stands for letter sorting machine. This machine helps them to separate letters according to their zip codes. Zip codes are the numbers that we put on each letter to help the postal workers to deliver the mail faster. The first number of the zip code is for a very large area of the United States. The second and third numbers are for smaller areas, and the last two numbers tell what town or zone within a city that the letter is going to. Do you know what your zip code is? As each letter passes by, the distribution clerks read the zip code and press the zip code number buttons on the machine. The machine then moves the letter to a special slot where there are many other letters that have the same numbers or zip code. There are many letters that have to be sorted, and the distribution clerks have to work very fast. Do you think this job takes a lot of training? Would you like to run a letter sorting machine someday? This man is a postal supervisor. He doesn't handle the mail like the other workers do, but his job is very important. He has to make sure that all the other workers are doing their jobs. He also must check the machines to see that they are all running properly. He depends on his workers to help him move the mail, and they rely on him if there are any problems. If a machine breaks down, it is up to him to find someone to fix it.
LSM shop. Got a safety Mac LSM number 1.
I'm a maintenance technician. I don't handle the mail, but my job is very important to those who do. When a machine breaks down, they depend on me to fix it as fast as I can. Because if one of these machines stops working, then the mail stops moving. That means that these workers won't have anything to do. Like all the other workers here, I do a job that I have been specially trained for. I may not be very good at sorting mail or running a letter sorting machine, but they probably wouldn't be able to fix these machines as well as I can.
Perry, the mechanic, doesn't handle the mail either, but that doesn't mean that his job isn't important.
These trucks and Jeeps have to travel a lot of miles every day, and it's my job to make sure they're in good running condition. It's important that I come to work every day. The drivers and mail carriers depend on me to always be on the job. I kind of like the feeling of knowing that others rely on me to do my job.
Many of these trucks will take the mail to nearby distribution centers, but when letters have to travel longer distances, they are sent by airplane. These commercial planes carry people and mail. The postal workers depend on the airplanes to help them deliver the mail. And this pilot depends on these workers to be on time. If they were to arrive late, the plane would have to leave without the mail. When mail from a plane or truck arrives, it goes to a large distribution center, where it is again sorted and run through machines. The mail must move along many conveyors before it leaves the post office, and it is the job of this woman to see that all the equipment is working properly.
Maintenance control.
With the help of television monitors, she can watch the mail as it moves through the building.
Okay, would you check on it for me, Helen? I got very little mail and some of it's on that Charlie 9.
By pushing the knobs on the control board, she can start up the equipment or shut down a machine if necessary. While you sleep, these people work all night to get the mail ready for the morning delivery. After the mail is sorted and bundled, it goes to your post office. That's where your mail carrier works.
I come to the post office pretty early in the morning because I have a lot of work to do before I deliver the mail. First, I have to arrange the mail in proper order. That takes a lot of time. Then I separate the letters of people that have moved or letters that have the wrong addresses on them. There are a lot of other carriers like me at the post office. Most of us deliver the regular mail, but others do special jobs. Jack over there delivers parcel post. That's what we call packages and other pieces of mail that are too big or too heavy for me to deliver. John here does a job called special delivery. He makes special trips to houses and businesses in your town that need mail in a hurry. And Vicky is one of our rural carriers. She delivers mail to people that live many miles apart, like people on farms.
How is the mail delivered to where you live? Each day, mail carriers cover over 4 million miles. That's the same distance as going around the world 160 times. And mail carriers deliver just about anything that you can think of. Yes, and we even deliver chickens. But these mail carriers don't do it alone. They have a lot of help from people doing special jobs, and all of them working together. Do you remember who they are?
Oops, I was rewinding a film and accidentally let it run a little too long. Anyways, Here's another film about workers, made by the AFL-CIO. It's about government workers postal employees are government workers. So, there we go. Enjoy.
A street walked in spirit by every American. Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C. Route of the highest officer in the land on Inauguration Day, thoroughfare for conducting the business of a modern democracy. Americans at work. More than 2 million workers in more different kinds of jobs than there are in any other business, conducting the biggest business in the United States, that of your federal government. Workers in 500 different occupations in 80 agencies, the smallest, the Commission of Fine Arts with 3 employees, the largest, the Department of Defense with over 1 million, make the American citizen the largest employer in the world. The popular concept is that government workers are concentrated in Washington. But for every civil servant in the nation's capital, 10 work elsewhere. In regional laboratories, they test projects that will remake the geography of the country. At experiment stations scattered the length and breadth of the land, they devise the standards that will protect the purity of our food. In cities, in towns, in rural areas and lonely outposts, they gather information for making predictions on our favorite subject, the weather. At testing bureaus in key spots, an infinite variety of objects must pass rigid examinations for the protection of the public. Government workers are everywhere that there is a need for information and service to the American citizen. Many of them have never even been to Washington. Employees of your civil service work for you next door and all over the world, and soon will be in outer space. From the Treasury building go forth the forms that make us most conscious of government. Federal income tax returns. As in all government agencies, an extensive information service is maintained to aid the citizen. Employees of the Internal Revenue Service are the daily most in tact and diplomacy to make palatable one of the most unpleasant facts of life, taxes. Although theirs is a thankless business, they take great pains to see that you pay no more than your share. They work, however, in the knowledge that for your taxes, you are getting value received. Public works, justice, progress, education, and freedom. The biggest bargain in history, American citizenship. But collecting taxes is just one of 1,000 tasks performed by government workers. The same department, the Treasury, that must raise the money to provide us with public services beyond the ability of private individuals to supply, also prints our paper money. Every transaction involving currency is an example of the way in which the work of civil service employees touches our lives many times every day. Each dollar bill has a brief but busy life expectancy of approximately 13 months, which is why new bills are constantly being put into circulation. Treasury workers are also charged with the responsibility of protecting us against counterfeiters, forgers, and tamperers. At mints distributed over the United States, our coin makers handle more hard cash in a day than most of us do in a lifetime. Only the most scrupulously honest could stand the strain of creating fortunes without becoming a penny richer. Their fellow workers are the famous T-men and Coast Guardsmen of peacetime, who help guard our borders as well as our treasury. Study carefully a bill or stamp of any denomination to see the results of one of the smallest but most valuable professions in the country, siderography or steel engraving. This knowledge could be dangerous if applied outside the Bureau of Engraving. These are the bits of paper that will take a letter or a parcel anywhere for a few cents. The same care goes into the engraving of the picture on a postage stamp as goes into the design of paper currency. Flaws and defects may make certain stamps more valuable to the philatelist, but the Bureau of Engraving doesn't want them to circulate through the post offices. The inspector detects imperfections with the naked eye as the large sheets whiz by. The weatherman has always been a spaceman, even though it's inner rather than outer space. The success of his job depends on how fast he can collect information on the atmosphere and translate it into weather forecasts for the rest of us. No one knows how he got to be called the weatherman, when it takes the combined knowledge and experience of thousands of scientists and technical workers to produce a single weather report. Air may all look alike to the uninitiated, but a vast array of highly specialized instruments is needed to record atmospheric conditions in a science called meteorology. There is even a special weather that occurs in a layer around the Earth just a few inches off the ground. This concerned only the insects until recently. Now it has been found of great importance to farmers in understanding the behavior of growing crops. Inside the weather station, radar tracks the course of the balloon, which is equipped with a radio transmitter to send back its collected data. For most of us, nothing is more out of date than yesterday's weather report. To weathermen, every fact that was ever gathered is useful in foretelling the future. So they carefully file each tidbit for its value in interpreting the next movement of air mass, the path of the next tornado, the extent of tomorrow's sunshine or storm, the duration of whatever is to come out of the sky. This is truly a wedding of art and science. In a nation of inventors and originators, there must be special protection for its creative people. The Patent Office is set up to provide this protection through patents, copyrights, and registration of trademarks. The Founding Fathers laid the basis for this service in the Constitution to promote the arts and sciences, and they have not been let down. The American is a restless tinkerer, hardly ever satisfied with the way things have been done before his time. A patent does not guarantee success for the inventor, nor even bestow the right to manufacture an article. It does protect him from competition, and it does give him exclusive rights to the product of his imagination. If hundreds or even thousands of these brain children find their way no further than the Patent Office, dozens of them become the contributions that carry civilization forward. A little known but extremely important duty of government workers is the regulation of weights and measures. Everyday living would be in a state of chaos if we did not have reliable units of weight and measurement. A standard kilogram, which can be translated into pounds and ounces, is kept in a vault at the Bureau of Standards. It is this that makes it possible for the scales in your neighborhood stores to bear the legend, honest weight. Replicas are calibrated with this original under the most carefully controlled conditions. So sensitive is this true weight that it must be handled with tongs and kept at a constant temperature to prevent fluctuations and resulting inaccuracies. We owe this achievement in standardization to John Quincy Adams, 6th President of the United States, who felt that his effort in this field was a greater accomplishment than being president. He said, "Weights and measures may be ranked among the necessities of life. They enter into the daily concerns of every family. They are necessary to every occupation of human industry, to the security of property, to every transaction of trade and commerce, to the labors of the husbandman and the artificer, to the studies of the philosopher, to the mariner and the soldier, to all the exchanges of peace and all the operations of war." We would probably not know our own strength in numbers if it were not for the work of the Census Bureau. The Department of Commerce has set up a dramatic scoreboard of how our population stands up to this minute. The calculations of scores of statisticians are behind the lights that flash to indicate that someone is born, dies, enters, or leaves the country to stay. Around the clock, the Voice of America broadcasts America's message of democracy to the world. The master control is the technical heart and brains of the voice. This control board is the largest and most flexible in the world. It is designed to make possible the selection of programs from 100 different sources and to handle 26 separate transmissions at one time. There are direct lines to the White House, the State Department, the Capitol, the National Press Club, National Airport, and Constitution Hall in Washington. It is connected with United Nations headquarters in New York City and broadcasting centers in Munich, Germany, Paris, France, and United States commercial radio and television networks. Highly specialized workers speak for all of us to the people of other nations throughout this one arm of the United States Information Agency. We send the message in over 40 languages using natives of the country to which they broadcast. Most of these are now American citizens. Many of the programs are live. Some are recorded on tape or discs. These are shipped as package programs for placement in local stations or networks in foreign countries. The Pentagon, symbol of big government made necessary in a complex world. Half of all civil service employees work in national defense. Work here and in thousands of field offices is typical of government office jobs. But in the routine of typing and filing may start the ripples that eddy out to become world-shaking events. The big names, the statesmen and politicians must be backed up by numberless typists, stenographers, clerks, and messengers who document unfolding history in the minutest detail from moment to moment. Paperwork reflects the demands of our citizens for service from their government. A small but specially trained group of workers is responsible for the vital records that affect the lives of every American. The National Archives may contain documents of the life of the humblest citizen, as well as mementos of our greatest figures. Actions and accounts are on file here that would stretch miles into the past. A past that at any moment is likely to turn into the future. In these files may be the proof that will identify a missing person or that will establish a fact of American history that may be under dispute. A street walked in spirit by every American. A street symbolizing the public service of 2 million workers. Members of the American Federation of Government Employees of the AFL-CIO conduct the affairs of your government so that you may enjoy the benefits of peace, prosperity, and freedom. Americans at work for you. Americans at Work, presented as a public service by the AFL-CIO. Next week, another interesting story of Americans at work. Americans whose skill and effort help keep our country great and strong.
Yeah, so somebody, a couple of people chimed in the comments about National Archives. I love the National Archives. I love Library of Congress. I have good friends that work at both of those entities, preserving films, digitizing films, making them available. Beautiful stuff there. Anyways, yeah. So, where am I going with this? Oh, obviously I need coffee. Even though it's Labor Day, I'm working a little bit, coming in. I have to mow the lawn at the archive. The archive has a lawn. Not a lot of archives have lawns, but mine does. So I have to mow it. Otherwise, the neighbors are going to get mad at me. But you can help us with our mission by buy me a coffee.com/avgeeks. You can also go to avgeeks.com and buy DVDs. You can hit like, subscribe. Those are little simple gestures, little click that button or, you know, hit that thing or whatever with your thumb or with your mouse click, you know, just say, thank you, hi. So the next film I got queued up on the telecine behind me is Canadian film, part of a series, came out in 1958, and it features Cease Linder, Ceclinder, as a disgruntled assembly line worker. And it's a great film. I lost it for a while, couldn't find it, and then it resurfaced again recently, so I'm excited that it's back. So this is Man on the Assembly Line. Enjoy.
This challenge, creative opportunity, would be of interest to Mr. Roderick Quinn. Roderick has to do mass production, mass organization, and more precisely with the doors of trucks. Roderick Quinn has to do with the bolts that hold the doors to the cab. 5 days a week, from 7 to 4, he inserts and tightens these bolts. And we would like you to know a little about Rod Quinn and what happened to him one day.
The time, 6:27. Well, all you with that 7 a.m. curfew, come on up with the glad cry.
Rod, you're sure the swing will be here? You know how they're counting on it.
It'll be here. You said this morning at the latest.
Maybe you'd like some cocoa for a change, huh?
No. I think I'll wait outside.
Rod, sit down and eat. Some toast. Have something. How can you work on an empty stomach?
I don't know. Something wrong with me.
Then see a doctor.
Doctor.
What's the matter, Rod?
Nothing. What is it, Wednesday? It's a whole lousy business. Monday comes, I keep thinking, a couple of days it'll be Wednesday. Wednesday, well, Friday's 2 more days. Saturday and Sunday, that's what I live for. When Saturday comes and I start right in thinking, God, soon it'll be Monday again.
It's the same with everybody.
So?
Even me. I start in the house, the kids, especially now they're home on holidays. Well, I don't have to tell you. I'm not trying to complain, but I don't even have the weekends.
But a day finishes. Something is finished with you. At some time, Vera, maybe for only 10 minutes, 1 minute, the house is completely cleaned, eh? Tidied, right? At some time, the kids are in bed. You've watched them, you've taken care of them, they're in bed, eh? At least you're doing something. You're raising children. That's something.
And you're building cars.
What are you talking about? I'm building cars. Building cars. You take the tour sometime. See how I'm building cars. Today's Wednesday, eh? That's it. They'll be around. The big tour. Teachers, kids, businessmen all come around to see how I make cars. Can't even look at them. Go ahead. Take the tour.
Maybe I will.
Would you dare?
It's pretty good pay.
Why? We got enough for the down payments? That what you mean?
And we meet the installments.
And we missed the installments? I know the pay stinks.
It doesn't
It
stink.
stinks for what I'm giving them. Giving them Monday to Friday. I'm even throwing in Saturdays and Sundays now.
Why don't you see a doctor, Rod?
Talking about something, you keep coming up with doctors. What's the matter with you? Talking about my time. What have I got? Okay, so it's not important. To them, they look at me. Here's what it is. My mind. Okay, still it's a human brain, eh? My hands, my strength. Okay, what's it all worth? The works, everything I am. My time, the works. $1.78 an hour.
That's all I am, Vera. $1.06.
Well, quit then if you hate it so much.
Quit? You think you just quit? I got 9 years there. How are we gonna live? Of course, if you could get along without it, we could sell the country estate. Maybe get rid of the stable of horses.
If you're so unhappy.
I got a better idea. I could start manufacturing cars. You said I built
well,
cars.
you're going to be silly.
No, I'm serious. I'll phone Ed Sullivan. I'll ask him if he'd be interested to sell my cars. I got an hour for lunch. I'll call New York. I'll ask him. Put me a tomato again.
Salmon, Robert.
Thanks, Vera. We'll see you. Tell the kids tonight we'll put the swing up.
Any of you guys and gals play golf?
Take your average man. You're gonna say to him, think, stop running around, start thinking about something important for a change?
Jimmy, you're way off the track.
Wait, think. You're gonna say to him, you're living practically in the shadows, think, boy. Louis, you saw that copy of Life, huh? With those missiles?
Yeah.
They scare me. They don't make me feel safe. I don't sleep better. Rod, I'm just saying, what if some fanatic gets a hold of them? Some lunatic.
Listen, we got plenty of safety checks.
All right, not on our side. We don't have lunatics on our side.
I mean, well, what do you think? Somebody on the other side has got these bombs at home. All he's got to do is say, drop them. Now, when you come right down...
People are supposed to be intelligent. I don't care who you are. Everybody wants to live.
Hitler. What if when the war is on, suppose Hitler had the bomb, and he sees it's the end for him?
Who's the kid?
Some kid, I don't know.
Hi there. Come on. You working here?
I was told to report in this section. Where would the foreman be?
He'll find you, don't worry. His name's Harrison.
What are you reading?
Oh, this. They just gave it to me.
So you want to build cars. Welcome to the family. You are now a member of one of the largest auto building teams in the world. This will be your work home. Get to know it. Get to know the people with whom you will now be associated.
Hey, you.
Yes, sir.
You punched in?
Well, I was told to see the foreman.
All right, I'm the foreman.
This is the father of the family, boy. What's your name?
Frank Bolger.
All right, never mind. Come to my office, I'll get you started.
Welcome to the family.
What's the matter with you, Quinn?
We're just helping Frankie get indoctrinated, eh, fellas? It's your pamphlet? This will be your working, Frankie. For the people with... You see, man, we're people. It says so right here.
Black and white?
Right in the book. Someone up there wrote it.
They should come around, then they wouldn't be so sure.
You're so damn funny, you know that?
Hey, I got a suggestion for the suggestion box. You see, there should be signs. Now, some signs say machine, some signs say people.
Why don't you smarten up, Quinn?
No, listen. We all got numbers. Machines got numbers, a stock's got numbers, we got numbers. Now, maybe under each number, there should be this other badge. You could keep it simple. Just say human. So they won't oil us.
Come on, son.
No, wait, it's not 7. Let's get them set properly. Here, Louis, you read him this part. Go ahead.
Without you, without the others in our great family team, we could build no cars. We want you to
Now,
enjoy...
that means they need you like they need one rivet, Frankie. Now, you're working, and you drop a rivet. You don't pick it up. No. They got men up there who worked it out. You never mind. Just keep moving with the line. You want rivets? They got 1,000,000 barrels.
We want you to enjoy your work.
Love it, Frankie. Get to love it. Love every car so you can't get enough. So every time you look up and you see him coming endlessly down the line, you'll thank God we're not running out.
Have your little joke, Quinn. Go ahead.
Wait a minute.
The boss is right. I'm getting tired of this stuff you keep yapping. What's the matter with you?
Nothing's the matter with me, moron.
What a moron.
Kirk, you're right. I am the moron.
Nothing wrong with the line. You give it the old socko, the old 1-2. Learn it instead of your beef.
Sure, you'll have troubles. That's to be expected. See your foreman. That's one of the reasons he's there. Talk it over.
I talk to my foreman all the time, don't we, fellas? A great listener.
You should shut up sometime.
Not you. You're not the foreman, is he? You want to see the foreman? There, the line.
You don't know what you're talking
And
about.
I'm telling you it's a line.
And I'm telling you to shut up now.
Harrison, you're obsolete.
Come on.
We got a foreman.
Drop it, Rod.
You're marking time, Harrison.
Before you go, man. Start making trucks, Quinn. Your foreman's cracking. Mush.
unnecessary. Still, that's the way it happened. It would be wrong for you to assume that Harrison, the foreman, is what they call a bad guy, or that Quinn is a bad guy, for that matter. Both work under pressure. It's in the air, even when the line is down. Something snaps and you're away. Could be tension, could be frustration or resentment, who can say? And from now on, that's the way it has to be in the nervous, standardized, mass-producing 20th century. This is the symbol of mass production, the line. The work, as you can see, is mechanically paced. It is repetitive. It is minutely subdivided. It calls for no great skill, no great challenge. There are those who like it, those who have come to like it, and those who have had the necessity of liking it thrust upon them. And then there is Roderick Quinn.
Hey, Quinn! You hear about Stella?
Who? What's the matter? No man?
Yeah, old man Stella.
What?
Capo!
Eh?
Yes.
When?
Yesterday, the whole section. Hello, big.
Don't exaggerate it. Not the top.
All right, they're gonna retrain them or something.
Old Stoa, eh? You're gonna bring in the new machines then, eh?
Yeah, looks that way.
Maybe we'll be next, eh, Quinn?
Not us. They're gonna put in an expensive machine what they can get us for $1.06.
1 month without you and they got the machine paid off.
I wouldn't mind.
Go on. Who are you kidding?
You're right again, Kirk. It's your day for being right.
Okay, Quinn.
How you making out, kid?
Hi. It's not very good. I can't figure out how to get this thing lined up straight.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. It's your bracket on top here. You need another 1/8 of an inch. Get it flush against the top. You're okay here. Excuse me. Yeah, that's fine. See how nice and level it is? And your welding is even. But up here, another 1/8 of an inch. Here? Oh, it's this bracket. I used to work this machine. I know the lineups on it.
Quinn, I don't know exactly what you're after.
What's the matter? I'm just trying to show them. I'm not after anything.
You on relief?
Yeah.
Well, stay where you belong, eh? What's the trouble here?
I'm not sure.
Casey didn't tell you, Frankie. It's a cross cell you're working on.
Oh. All right, watch again.
Quinn?
All right, take over, eh? What?
You heard me. Now let's not have any trouble.
What do you mean take over? Since when am I en route?
Forgotten how to do the job? I'll show you again.
No, I haven't forgotten. I don't work here.
When I tell you where to work. And right now, I need you here.
Well, where's Kramer?
Kramer's sick.
Oh, well, you could have said so. Don't even know where anything is anymore.
Well, just look.
Now, that was a trivial and legitimate enough request. Someone's sick, step over and fill in for him. Why did it have to get twisted the way it did? Here is a man who hates his own job, the repetition, the monotony, the endlessness. He's relieved of it for a couple of hours, given something completely different to do. Instead of being delighted, or at least pleased, he burns. Well, now it is lunchtime.
No, all I'm saying is he could have told him. He could have said, Frank, this is a cross-sell. That's so hard to say.
So he tells him. Is he going to know any more about what it's all about?
That's not the point. Say it's a carburetor. Some little screw in the carburetor. So if the guy doesn't know a carburetor from a clutch, and even if it's 1/50th part of a carburetor he's working on, still you tell him, just so he'll know.
What's the difference? You know, you don't know. You're still not making cars. You're making some little thing they need. You get a couple of hands? That's all they want. That should be right at the top of the application. You got your name, your address, then it should say hands. And you write down how many hands you got, like 1, 2, 3.
Oh, they pay you. That's it. That's all I care.
Yeah, the pay's okay.
I guess so. That's the reason I'm here. You know what I was making over at Rathbell's when I left? What? $1.10. $1.10. They tell me that's what they're still paying at Rathbell's. Maybe $1.30 tops, I don't know.
Why can't they do it a little different? Say here we are, 6 guys, eh? Give us a whole job. You want a carburetor? Okay, we'll make a carburetor.
Talk to those time-study college boys. They'll tell you why it's not going to be a little bit different. You know what Harrison did? Look. Didn't tell the kid a word. Showed him 3 times how to do the job, handed him a cross-sell, and walked away. Not one word.
Well, that's Harrison. He ain't a bad guy, actually.
I didn't say he was a bad guy. He was talking about bad guys. He just doesn't think.
You're saying about Harrison? There used to be a guy over at Albany's there, Simpkins. Oh, there was a guy, the Simpkins guy. I don't know, little things. One of the things he used to do, he'd never call you, like me. He never called me Nick or Palmer. Say, that was my name the whole time I was there. Say, pick up that cable there. Say, step lively. Say, we'll give you permission. Harrison, at least he's human.
Not knocking Harrison.
Nah, today it was your fault. He wasn't bothering you. What'd you have to start up for?
Yeah, well.
Rod, you wanted on the phone.
Oh, thanks, Smitty. In the office?
Yeah.
Vera? What's the matter?
The swing hasn't come yet. No. Yes, I know, but it hasn't come.
I can't understand. They promised. What is it? Is it yes, I know they're counting. You don't have to...
Look, Rod, could you phone Vic Shiner and remind him just to make sure? Yeah. Before 3, remember he said? Yeah. Look, Rod, I gotta hang up. The kids are at home. I have to run.
Yeah, okay. Goodbye. Thanks. Harrison, I wonder if I can get my break around 2:45 today. I'll tell you, I ordered this swing for my kids through this friend of mine, wholesale, and it was supposed to come this morning and didn't come. You see, I want to call him again to make sure. Sure. Thanks. As long as it's before 3. He's at lunch now, so if I can get him before 3, anyway, 3 at the latest, he can catch the last delivery. After that, it's too late.
Well, I'll arrange it. Don't worry.
You know how kids are. Once you promise them today.
You bet, Quinn.
Thanks a lot.
About this race stuff, what kind of car is going to go into?
Rod Quinn sat around for another few minutes after that. Then the whistle blew, and mush, they were off making cars again. Nothing significant happens for a little while now, except the usual routine. And that is probably the most significant fact of all. In any kind of mass production, nobody actually produces. Everyone works, true, but nobody produces. The plant produces. The sum total of all this welding and grinding and stamping and plugging and bolting and whatnot is a car. Or it could be a TV set or a bathtub or a shoe. But no one can say he makes it. He works, that's all. Cut him off from the plant. What is it? Cut him off from this giant technology, this staggering system of organization. What then?
are over here.
Leave the damn thing alone.
I'm only 1 foot.
Leave it alone, I said. Cut it. I'm telling you, leave it alone. I'm warning you. Yeah.
A little thing, nothing in itself. The tray gets moved a few inches. If this had happened at 1 o'clock right after lunch, would Quinn even have bothered to notice it? But by 2 o'clock, the pressure's been on an hour. That's not counting the buildup of the past 9 years, of course. 20 minutes later, this occurs.
What's up, Rod?
Listen, the shaft of my air gun keeps slipping. I told Ferguson an hour ago.
Yeah? Who's replacing it?
Nobody. I worked ahead. Bolts aren't getting tight and right.
Well, I'll go find Ferguson. You better get back.
Look, the thing keeps slipping. I can't do a
Don't
job.
worry about it. Don't worry about it. They'll catch it at inspection.
I don't care about inspection. I'm telling you I can't do a job right.
It won't go through like that. They'll catch it. Relax.
He wanted to do it right. He's doing nothing. He's pointed that out probably half a dozen times already. Still, he wanted to do it right. So at 2:30, he tripped over the line and scraped his elbows. Quite minor. Now we'll go back to Roderick Quinn, and it's 6 minutes to 3, and I won't interrupt again.
Hey, Jackson, where are you going?
I got to relieve Saunders a minute.
Look, I'm supposed to be off. I told Harrison at noon.
He didn't say anything.
Please, find him, eh? I gotta get to a phone by 3. It's really important, eh?
I'll find him.
Again, so you don't need to bother stopping.
That dog.
What's the matter?
If he doesn't come, the hound. Oh, I swear I'll.
Finally arrived when we stand up for it. That's fine. Now, this, of course, is more assembly. Actually, as I said, this is really a starting section for this line, and we'll work our way back from where we came. This man is bolting. Excuse me. You see, just come around. You see, hinges have been inserted, and those bolts, well, it's really a hanging process. Those bolts, when placed on either side, will now fix the door to the frame.
That thing he's using, that's for tightening the bolts, is that?
That's right. That's for tightening the bolts.
That's very interesting.
He gets them started, then checks on the hang of the door, then tightens the bolts fully with the power gun. It's precise work and takes time to build up speed. These men can go at quite a rate.
You handy gadget at home, eh?
No, it takes a fair amount of skill. I don't think one just picks it up and handles it.
Nice working conditions you got around here.
It's a happy place, you know.
It's the happiest place I heard of. It's a rest home. It's vacation land, ladies. Come here, I'll show you.
Maybe you'd like souvenirs.
Look,
Here,
man.
take some. No, you're right.
Rod, what's the matter with you?
This is a very skillful job. You just told him, eh?
The thing's running.
You think it's just a bolt, eh?
Rod!
But you have to be able to put this bolt right into that hole. That's not easy. No, that's hard. And lady, you're right. It's interesting. Certainly you're never bored. Something different all the time. Maybe there'll be a bolt won't fit sometimes. Ah, that takes experience, yes. Training. That's what this job calls for. You gotta be really qualified. You gotta be at least 5 years old. Like you, Sonny. At least your age. You could do it. Except you got too much brains. You wouldn't. You'd refuse.
Wait. Quinn, for God's sake, what's the matter with you?
I'm telling them one nice thing is it's steady work.
Get out of here, Quinn.
It's the steadiest, hog-lousy work you ever dreamed of. And you gotta use your head. Think. That's what you learn all that stuff for at school.
Go home.
That's what you're born for.
Quinn!
For lousy this.
Go home.
Yeah, I'm going home. I want to put up a swing.
Rod Quinn's problem is not uncommon. In accordance with the principles of mass production, he works in response to the demands of the line, the compulsions of timing, completing each operation in so many minutes and so many seconds, and the compulsions of performing the same operation in exactly the same way on car after car, day after day, year after year, are exacting and relentless. The satisfaction which comes from a sense of contribution and achievement is meager. And in Rod Quinn's case, high wages in the long run have not proven to be sufficient compensation. He comes to a point in life where the frustrations and the futility of repetitive work intrude themselves into the home. Ultimately, triggered by small incidents, he comes into major conflict with authority. The techniques of mass production in which Rod Quinn is apparently caught contribute at the same time to the high standard of living we enjoy. By means of the assembly line, we produce goods in great volume. With this come high wages and low cost. The solution that society must find is to the question of how the benefits associated with the assembly line can be retained without placing such a heavy burden on individuals, forcing them to adapt and adjust to its rigorous demands.
Really love that. C Cylinder, I put a link to his IMDb page on in the comments. Wonderful character actor. Besides being in Goldfinger, he also shows up in another one of our educational films, Keep Off the Grass, the Canadian version, where he catches his daughter, I think with some pot, and everybody gets in trouble. Really phenomenal film that I don't even know if it's National Film Board of Canada, and they have a lot of their films online, but I don't know if they have this one online. It's all you started talking about going postal, but yeah, it's a fascinating film. I was hoping to find. I thought that I had a film trailer for Take This Job and Shove It, but I couldn't find it. So we won't end with that wonderful film from the 70s. Thanks so much, Jeremy, for the coffee. You can reward or punish AV Geeks by buying us coffee to keep us caffeinated. You can also go to avgeeks.com and find DVDs and see other shows that we've put online. And you can hit like and subscribe. Thanks for joining us. I know some of you had the day off, and so I appreciate you spending time with me. We'll be back tomorrow, 1 o'clock. We'll watch some more educational films, of course. And we will rewind, because that's what the film can tells us to do. This particular film, some film cans tell us not to rewind, but it also wants us to love each other, and sounds like a great idea. So everybody take care of yourself. I hope you have a good rest of your day, holiday if it applies to you, and we will see you again tomorrow. Everybody take care.